Hi, so I'm about to go on a weekend road trip and I wanted to give you some advice for staying vegan while on the road. So this past week I took a road trip from the Northeast to the Midwest. So I traveled from New York to Wisconsin and it took me 2 days, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about what I ate while I was on the road and how I stayed vegan and how I attempted to stay high carb, but I didn't really. I was kind of a little bit more on the standard American range of proportions instead of being 80-10-10 as far as my carb intake. So I'm going to show you some of the snacks that I brought in my car and some things that helped me along the way. So the first couple of things I have are Cliff Bars, just the peanut butter ones. Peanut butter is my favorite, and Chia Bars. So these are great. I have the banana flavor and the coconut flavor. I think I've tried all of them. I really like these. They're only about 100 calories, but they're a good snack when you're on the road. And the reason why I like these things, because they're bars, so you can eat them while you drive and you don't really have to worry about stopping or things getting messy. Another snack is banana. I know this is a sad unripe banana, but I had about 3 bunches of bananas in the car and I ate those for breakfast while I was on the road. I also had apples and some other assorted fruit. I had kiwis, and I kept them in this cooler bag. So I suggest you get one of these insulated bags. I got this one from Trader Joe's, but just about every grocery store now sells these insulated bags, or a cooler. A cooler would work better, but I didn't really feel like buying a cooler for my road trip, so instead I just brought an insulated bag. A couple other things that I had were these fruit strips. So Trader Joe's, Wegmans, and a lot of other grocery stores sell them. They're basically just these little fruity strips. And a lot of these things were just to get me to my next meal. These weren't like my meals for my road trip. These were just snacks in between my breakfast, my lunch, my dinner, so that way I could get on to the next meal. Another thing that I found really handy were these little chocolate milks. This is a hazelnut milk, and so these are really helpful because they're like single serve. They have calcium, vitamin D, and a lot of other nutrients that you might need while you're on the road. Not the most natural thing, but a lot better for you than the alternative of cow's milk. So some other things that I had dried fruit. I ate all the raisins I had, so I can't show you those, but I had little containers of raisins, so I would snack on those in the car. And that brings me to my next point. Make sure if you're eating dried fruit while you're traveling, though, that you're drinking plenty of water. Dried fruit is super dehydrating, so I have this sippy water bottle. It's got the little sippy thing. If you're driving and you're by yourself, definitely bring a water bottle that you can drink out of, like this one. I also have this glass water bottle. I kept at least 2 liters of water in my car at all times, so that way I had plenty of water to drink while I was on the road. And another thing to just be aware of with water is don't be so stressed out about water quality when you're traveling. It's really important to drink water, so if you're stressed that you can't get good water while you're traveling, carry a bunch of big Nalgene bottles with you, or big water bottles filled up with water, because you want to make sure you're hydrated. Being dehydrated on the road, I get really bad headaches when I get dehydrated and makes it really difficult to drive, so make sure you're staying hydrated. So my final thing is, where did I get dinner while I was on the road? So what I actually did was I looked up Chipotle. Chipotle is awesome for traveling because you can go in there and ask for extra rice, extra beans, and I always ask for extra salsa too. I really like their mild salsa. So I looked up for my first night on the road where Chipotle was, so that way I could stop off at one before I got to my hotel for the night. That was awesome because it filled me up completely. A lot of great, delicious, high carb food. It's a little high in sodium, but for something that you're eating while you're traveling, it's pretty good. And most bigger towns and cities have a Chipotle now. So that's a good option. You could stop at other fast casual restaurants, but just know where you are. I knew I was traveling in the Midwest, and in the Midwest, there's not a lot of vegan-friendly options. It's really hard, so I figured if I looked for a chain that I knew has vegan options, I'd be better off. So I got a burrito bowl, and that was my dinner. And I made sure I carried these with me. These are bamboo utensils. And so that was really helpful, so I didn't have to get plastic silverware, and it was a little bit more sustainable for my trip. So that's pretty much it. That's how I traveled. Once I arrived at my destination, I found the nearest grocery store, and I bought a whole bunch of produce, and that's pretty much lasted me throughout the week. I'm also staying at a house that has a kitchen, so that's very helpful, and I've been able to cook my own food all week. So depending on where you're staying also depends on what the availability will be for food. So scope out grocery stores, see what the fruit quality is. If the fruit's not that great here, I know I got a watermelon and it was bad. I haven't had the best luck with fruit, so I've been eating a lot of carbs, a lot of grains. If I were to lump my diet into a category for this week, I would say it's on the starch solution side of things rather than the high carb raw side of things. Still trying to eat relatively high carb, but the most important point is that I stayed 100% vegan and I didn't have to eat any non-vegan foods while I was here. So that is how I've stayed vegan on my road trip so far. If you have questions or comments, post them down below, and give this a thumbs up if you like the video. And I will be making some more videos on how I am staying vegan during my road trip. So have a great week. See you later.